Welcome to the Level Up Your Customer Journey webinar series, where Experian explores topics relating to how complex processes are damaging your portfolio across your customer lifecycle. In this webinar series, we will cover the main challenges we observe in the customer lifecycle. And for each touch point with the customers, we will discuss how a simpler IT infrastructure can help improve the customer journey from onboarding to customer management to collections. I'm Jacob Fergeman, Principal Consultant, and I'm sitting in a room where my colleague to the left is Buse Hanchi. Buse is our Nordic Analytics Lead. And to my right, I have Jennifer Rowe, who's our Senior Pre-Sales Consultant for Northern Europe. Welcome. And in today's session, modernizing the customer journey requires IT simplicity. We are tackling a challenge that's quietly costing institutions significant amounts of money: IT complexity. And we will explore how fragmented systems, siloed data, and outdated architectures are holding back growth, and how modern unified platforms can unlock value across the customer lifecycle. And the background for choosing this theme is the massive focus this has on financial institutions' priority list. In that regard, Experian has, together with Forrester Consulting, conducted a global survey on top business priorities, and the message is very clear. The focus of businesses is to implement AI and machine learning models into credit risk decisions, whilst also moving into a unified platform, combining data and analytics with credit and fraud decisions. And today we will discuss and explore why this modernization is so critical, and we will, over the webinar series, uncover how to achieve successful transition to a unified platform. And Jennifer, to kick this off, what is, from your perspective, the problem by not having IT simplicity?
I think, Jacob, from my perspective, many companies, especially established banks at the moment, are drowning in IT complexity. So many businesses operate with large numbers of disconnected tools. And this fragmentation is leading to inferior customer service. Businesses risk losing clients due to inconsistent and frustrating digital journeys, poor data quality, and an inability to respond quickly to changing market conditions. So decision-making is slow due to the number of touch points impacted by changes and lack of clear, near real-time dashboards or insights into current performance. And this affects their ability to compete with newer market entrants who have the advantage of starting fresh with more modern architecture. I don't know what your thoughts are, Buse.
Yeah, very good points, Jen. Just to add, I would like to say one of the most neglected consequences of IT complexity is the time and manpower spent that could be used for automation and focusing on other business processes. So beyond that, there is also this model development and validation cycles are often too lengthy and also, again, time consuming and effort consuming. This slows down time to market and also shifts attention away from the discussions of the strategic business logic behind the models. Instead, everybody has to focus on these technical details. 76% of the participants, Jacob, you mentioned our credit insights report. So in this report, we also seen that 76% of the participants in our recent Forrester report agrees that organizations that are able to develop or deploy the models in faster cycles gain a very important competitive advantage. And ultimately, the systems or the platforms used in the institutions should only allow enabling deeper discussions around the business insights that is gathered through data and analytics. It should not create further operational burden or more inefficiency.
Yeah, totally. And this inefficiency also leads to unnecessary resource allocation. Teams are often structured to support outdated workflows or infrastructures. And in a modern setup, those same resources could be focused on customer engagement, product development, or proactive risk management. And this also means that the opportunity cost is significant, not just in terms of lost revenue, but also in terms of agility and competitiveness.
And I think that point is excellent to dwell on for a moment, because Jen, you say the opportunity cost is significant. But how do you see that as a bigger problem, or let's call it a challenge, than so many other things that organizations struggle with? Boosted, let's start with you.
Yeah. So actually, it is not just a technical issue, it's a strategic one, because when institutions struggle to use their data effectively, it impacts every part of their customer life cycle. I mentioned before this long deployment cycles, for example, or it is reactive rather than proactive risk management, and a lot of missed opportunities coming along with these two main things. It is preventing the businesses to engage customers meaningfully. But also what makes this challenge bigger than the others, it is because how deeply it influences everything in the organization. Fragmented systems don't just slow down the innovation, but it also prevents the innovation. Lack of a unified technology platform limits your ability to personalize the offers using data, analytics, and predictive modeling, and also responding to the market shifts. If it is lacking, then you can't really follow what's happening and you can't react that proactively in the market. So it will prevent you also making decisions with confidence at speed. So in today's environment where agility and customer relevance are key to competitiveness, I don't think that there's any organization that can take this risk.
I have to agree with you. I mean, and the other thing is getting new and advanced predictive models into production quickly. That's paramount to help businesses maximize their revenues, minimize costs, and identify potential fraud. So analytics teams need to know that the data they're working with is accurate, up to date, consistent across the business. And our clients are telling us that the majority of time spent on model development is in the data gathering and in data preparation. So if you've got a modern platform with the right tools that can manage and highlight any data issues, this can dramatically reduce the time to develop your models. And then business leaders are also expressing frustration with the time it takes to deploy new models or rules, and concern around the work that's being required just to be compliant. So this slow deployment is impacting multiple KPIs, those relating to customer experience, as well as bad debt, revenue, fraud. And IT, on the other hand, they're frustrated with time and cost of resources that it takes to keep on-premise platforms up to date and secure. Yeah. They've usually experienced some benefits of cloud platforms, and they'd like to take advantage of how this frees up resources to focus on innovation rather than business as usual. Yeah. And the quicker one can develop and deploy models and decision rules, the more one is able to develop the other areas of the business and spend time reviewing and improving current models and decisions.
I think very interesting points you both make. My immediate thought listening to both of you is, but how can this still be a problem? Because if we have identified this as a fundamental challenge for businesses, why is it more urgent today than, for instance, 5, 10 years ago? Let's start with you, Jen, and I'm very keen to hear your reflections.
I think for one thing, it's urgent because customers are changing. So you can see on the slide, over half of Gen Z and millennials will leave an institution if they're unsatisfied with the digital experience. Now, millennials are not that young anymore. They're heading,
No offense.
no offense. A lot of them are heading into their sort of mid-40s now. And 40s, especially the late 40s into 50s, those are usually prime earning years. So now this becomes probably your biggest and most important segment of your customer base that are demanding this digital experience. And you need that you need as a business to have this be easy, fast, personalized. And conversely, if businesses identify potential stress early and also engage proactively to help customers manage their financial pressure, especially if that pressure is short term, then they can create incredibly strong brand loyalty.
That's exactly how I also see it, because this Gen Z and millennial changes, you are asking, Jacob, why it is now. It is also because this shift of generation and how the new consumer expectations. So when we look at the researches, it shows that the traditional ways of approaching this new generation, it is not sufficient enough to understand their needs. So it doesn't necessarily create the engagement needed by the businesses. Customer journeys should be relevant, and systems should also allow you to engage your customers at the right time with the relevant touch points. For example, personalizing a payment moment at the time of checkout that is observed in an e-commerce website, it improves this engagement by several 100%, the engagement rates with these customers. So this is really impressive and interesting.
So for me, it sounds to me as if it's like Houston, we have a problem moment. And complexity is no longer manageable for many organizations, and the cost of doing nothing is rising ultimately. So why, Jennifer, seen from your chair and with your deep insight to the industry during the last 25 years, why have many financial institutions ended here?
Bottom line is that legacy infrastructure is really hard to escape. So migrating from core systems is expensive, it's risky. So even when dissatisfaction is high, many institutions are stuck due to the complexity of switching and the ongoing need to implement changes to remain compliant with constantly changing legislation. We actually referenced this earlier this year in a white paper where we kind of said adding wheels to a bicycle does not make it a car. And businesses are looking to make use of platforms that can support microservices. So this can help them move bit by bit to a more modern infrastructure. But also, complexity isn't just technical, it's also organizational.
Good point.
So project timelines are often extremely long, involving dozens of stakeholders across IT, risk, compliance, business units. Identifying all of the affected areas takes time, and the pressure to maintain business as usual during transformation creates internal resistance. Teams are often stretched really thin with daily operations. This makes it difficult to prioritize strategic change. And in addition, sometimes the best resources leave out of frustration to join companies with more exciting and modern technology. So I think it's kind of the age-old issue of balancing the new and the shiny versus the old versus risk and the time and budget available. And also, internal KPIs often don't support focusing on resolving the key issues. They appear to focus on what needs to be done in the short term to satisfy shareholder or investor value.
I'm very keen to remain in this gear. So Buse, seen from your perspective and your daily life working with financial institutions, what are the businesses focusing on in the coming years?
Thanks, Jacob. So I would like to again refer to our Forrester research, but also this is what we see in the market and we talk to our clients in our daily business. So we are seeing that the businesses are looking more and more to the cloud-based solutions and also to the unified platform, so where they can have end-to-end analytics and decisioning together, from data analytics to decisioning softwares. And if an organization can really ensure that the data is accessible by the right teams, this is nowadays also the topic to democratize the data, free up the data access. So if they can really make this data accessible by the right teams, and they can make this data centralized, and then taking the modeling teams like our team, analytics teams, if they can get this data to use, but also share all this know-how and the experiments among each other to standardize the approach, and also sharing all these insights gathered through the data, they can share it with the business teams, business stakeholders, and just spread it over the organization. Then it is possible to turn all these insights into actions. So this is always what we talk about, turning data into actions, but it is really important to have the platforms, unified platform, to ensure this, so that this will be making it possible to personalize offers in real time. Just to give an example, let's assume we would like to understand if a customer is eligible for a tailored credit product in the organization. Let's assume it's a bank. Then you need to access to the behavioral data, to the risk scores and the market insights, and all these need to happen at the same time and in a synchronized way. So through a centralized platform, this will be possible and the decision is made right on time.
And I think the good news is that from the research, that overall businesses have got a positive outlook. And they're expecting revenues to increase in the coming year.
Good.
Yeah. So they're intending to invest in technology, including AI, machine learning, to support the benefits of automation and enhanced customer touchpoints. So where today decisioning processes often rely on manual handovers between analytics teams, IT teams, and that really slows down execution and can introduce errors. A modern platform, a unified platform, enables seamless deployment of models and decisioning rules, and reducing dependency on IT, allowing business teams to react a lot faster. So when the market conditions shift, whether that's due to economic changes or regulatory updates or competitive pressures, institutions can adapt quickly. And ultimately, the lack of a unified platform erodes speed, erodes accuracy and customer trust. All of these are critical to staying competitive in today's financial landscape, and all elements that fintechs or new market entrants are able to get right, although usually only with a narrow product focus.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and to continue that point, Jen, Buse, taking your insights and your understanding on how the financial institution operate and prioritize activities, what opportunities are available, in fact, if the IT systems are simplified?
Yeah. One of the biggest opportunities I see is the ability to deliver personalized, timely, and relevant customer experiences. We talked about this new generation consumer expectations. That is the only way that you keep competitive in the market, and this is the biggest opportunity to get the largest pie in the market. With a unified platform that supports end-to-end analytics, institutions can also turn data into actionable insights, as we spoke. Just to give an example again, we see in the market that many institutions have a huge data on B2C, B2B, their consumers' business portfolios. However, the main issue we see in our stakeholders in the market, that the data is not easily accessible by the right teams, to the relevant teams, to analytics, to business teams, so that these insights are generally hidden, so they are not unlocked by the company. So if they could have a sandbox platform, for example, to play with this data learn from this data and experiment. And then they could also adopt more and more AI and machine learning models. This is also the trend. Everybody is talking about AI, ML, but this is only possible when you have this kind of an environment that gives you this flexibility to test and learn, to touch and play. So it would accelerate unlocking the insights and the value in the data. Unified technology platforms, so all these technologies enable smarter segmentation, dynamic pricing, predictive risk management, and this will all together contribute to better customer outcomes and a better customer journey. Our Forrester research also seems to confirm that. I'm again getting back to our Forrester research, but this is really interesting insights there. We see that 62% of the businesses that they haven't yet adopted AI ML, they also mentioned that they tend to take a more conservative approach to adopting new technologies. This is also showing the linkage, the correlation between the unified technology platforms and the newest trends and the best technologies, methodologies used in an organization. So another opportunity of having a modern integrated platform is also that it supports quickly getting these models into production. You mentioned it, Jen, in the earlier questions, Jacob had. So it is also enabling that these models are independent from IT workloads or burdens. Then these models can go into production in a more seamless ways, because there are normally very long waiting lists in the IT team. So there are all business units trying to develop something, put it into production, but it can be a bottleneck sometimes due to heavy workloads and prioritized project lists. Sometimes innovation cannot go in the fast track as expected. So if there are these model ops capabilities within this unified technology platform, again, from modeling to decisioning, it would help a lot with supporting the innovation in the organization.
Yeah.
And maybe just lastly, if all these things are in place, then it would create more revenue opportunities, increasing the competitive edge and improving the customer loyalty.
Yeah.
How do you see it, Jen?
I agree with everything you've said there, Buse, and I think that operational efficiency is also a major opportunity.
Yeah.
So when you look at machine learning, it's also really good in enabling better automation, faster decisions, potentially even improved resource allocation, like who should be underwriting what, who should be reviewing what. But without IT simplicity, you can't implement or scale it. And then institutions end up spending more time and money maintaining systems than innovating. And this, of course, slows down growth and responsiveness.
Thanks both. And as mentioned in my intro, the next, I'll just go back here. As mentioned in my intro, the next chapters in our webinar series will uncover some of the methodologies and tools on how to modernize IT landscape. But let's share with the audience a high-level teaser for what a potential way forward can be for an organizations currently struggling with elements of combining data and analytical models in a near real-life technological platform. That was a very long sentence. Very curious. Yes, thank you. I hope the audience can also follow it. But Buse, very curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Jacob. So today we talked about the unified platforms, as you say, and we are also very excited about our own platform, of course. The Experian Ascent platform is an example of a cloud-native solution that centralizes data, analytics, and decisioning. So we see it as a one-stop shop. It has pre-built modeling methodologies, ready-to-use scripts that we all embedded our own know-how into that platform, dashboards, Gen AI capabilities, and challenger testing environments. So this platform provides all-in-one. You can also deploy your models without IT dependency. This is also bringing this competitive edge that we spoke, a very critical and important feature in my view. And it also allows experimenting with machine learning models and test them through champion and challenger approach, simulating the strategies and continuously improve decisioning.
Yep, and I think it's not just about the tech, it's about collaboration. So the Ascend platform bridges that gap between analytics and business teams with visual tools and explainability built in. And then organizations that adopt a unified platform usually report improvements in customer relations and onboarding efficiency and customer retention, of course.
We have seen how complexity is costing institutions millions and how modernizing the customer journey starts with IT simplicity. To see my quote Darwin, because adaptability is the differentiator of the future. But this is just the beginning. In our next session, we'll explore how to transform onboarding with predictive analytics and real-time decisioning. And the journey to portfolio nirvana has just begun. And I want to say a big thank you to Busi Hanchi on my left and to Jennifer Rowe for your fantastic insights that you have shared with us in this webinar. Stay tuned for the upcoming webinars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jakob.
Thank you, Jacob.